Well, this presentation is based on a book of the same title, which in itself is an expanded version of the paper that won the prize. Now, when I say expanded, it's in a good way. It's not just mere padding. You can't get away with just reading the paper, and it's got lots of extra stuff in it as well. And it seeks to persuade academics of the potential of humour in research. And this goes way beyond its value as entertainment in a drive for more amusing research papers, though heaven knows that would be welcome enough. But rather it is about acknowledging that the humorous worldview presents unique opportunities for investigating the social as a mode of perception that can comprehend the world's multiple realities. But the task presents a paradox. If I attempt to do this humorously, I may be dismissed as trivial. If, on the other hand, I do it without humour, I negate my thesis. So either way, I end up alienating at least half my audience. My tack will therefore be to present it as seriously as possible, in the hope that some people will find it deeply ironic. Well, comedy is an essential aspect of human existence, revealing as much to ourselves as tragedy. And you cannot hope to fully understand the human condition if you ignore humour and laughter. And if you accept that, then it's clear that to ignore the humorous as an analytical attitude or the comic as a mode of representation is, at the very least, to neglect a potential source of insight. And in literature and the arts, the importance of comedy is clearly recognised, but in the social sciences, it's been neglected. And more than that, it's been actively rejected. There are three main objections to humour that have been put forward. That it is absurd and hence irrational, that it is hostile and hence unethical, and that it is non-serious and hence irresponsible. And to the first objection, one can say that a lot of life is absurd, and to exist in a state of denial in the social sciences is to undermine research itself, placing us in the absurd position of trying to unravel the mysteries of the irrational by rational means. To the second objection, one can say that not all humour is hostile, but a lot of social scientists are. And to the third objection, it can be argued that being funny and being serious are not the same. A lot of funny stuff is deadly serious, and vice versa. So to understand the importance of humour, it perhaps helps to distinguish between humorous and serious discourse. And Mulcahy argues that reality disjunctures, that is, divergent claims about what is happening in a given situation, are commonplace, but the meaning attached to these interruptions depends on your worldview. Producers of serious discourse take utterly for granted that discrepant formulations of the world cannot originate from the world itself, but must arise out of human failure to observe or report the world accurately, i.e. as a mistake. Now, humorous discourse, by contrast, accepts such interruptions as commonplace and searches for meanings accordingly. Serious discourse is therefore unitary, while humorous discourse depends on the discursive display of opposing interpretive possibilities which constantly confound our one known in common world. The humorous discourse consequently reveals the contradictions and the absurdities latent and sometimes manifest in social constructions of reality. And my claim is that the rejection of humour is not just a missed opportunity for otherwise fun-loving academics. This is not just about making research more entertaining, it is a paradigm for re-theorising. So that's the case. The rest of the presentation is going to look at the evolutionary origins of laughter, the three main theories used to account for laughter, and the three main tools or tropes to be drawn on, that is, irony, satire, and parody. So, evolutionary origins. Humour is fundamental and evolved early, before language even. So we can assume that our ancestors first came down from the trees laughing at someone falling out of a tree, perhaps, which makes slapstick the earliest form of hominid comedy. Moreover, Gervais and Wilson contend that bipedalism, that is walking upright, was essential for the evolution of laughter, freeing the thorax from the mechanical demands of locomotion. Bipedalism, of course, also offered many new opportunities for slapstick comedy through the difficulties of walking on two legs, though humans had to wait several million years for the emergence of the banana peel gag, since the domestication of musa species of banana only occurred around 7,000 years ago in Southeast Asia. Incidentally, research has incontrovertibly established that banana skins are indeed slippery. Research by Mabuchi et al. 2012, as reported in Tribology Online, indicates that in experimental conditions, the frictional coefficient under banana skins with the epicup facing upwards approximated to 0.07. This was around 1/6 lower than under a direct shoe sole on the surface tested. And the authors put this down to the follicular gel contained in banana skins being transformed into a lubricating sole under the pressure exerted by a misplaced foot. The frictional coefficient of banana skins was found to be significantly lower than apple peels and tangerines. The function of laughter, it has been proposed, was to act as a pro-social signal, alerting others that a potentially serious situation had turned out to be nothing of the sort. This is the false alarm theory. And Gervais and Wilson contend that evolutionary selection would have broadened the trigger, thereby converting some stimuli, such as near accidents, flatulence, and excretion, and sexual mischief, from potential sources of social stress to elicitors of social play and positive emotion. And contrary to Aristotle's belief, it seems that man is not the only animal which laughs. The great apes are widely believed to show a form of laughter, and Fox, yes really, claims that in dogs and other canids, the breathy exhalation used during play is a kind of incipient laughter. More unexpected perhaps is research which has convincingly demonstrated that rats laugh. Under laboratory conditions, Hank Sepp and Bergdorf discovered that rat laughter could be stimulated by tickling, and this was found to be extremely rewarding. Rats would engage in a range of tasks, such as pressing levers at running mazes, in order to be tickled. However, the research was unable to determine what rats find spontaneously funny, unless it is the sight of other rats performing such incongruous tasks as pressing levers and running mazes, especially if this offers opportunities for hilarious mishaps. Rat laughter was also found to be infectious, much like bubonic plague. And the authors concluded that rat laughter may transmit moods of positive social solidarity, thereby promoting cooperative forms of social engagement. Well, so much to the origins of laughter, and now to the theory. There are three main theories which account for laughter. These are the superiority theory, the relief theory, and the incongruity theory. And the superiority theory is usually attributed to that most pessimistic of English philosophers, Thomas Hobbes, he who famously said that men are nasty, brutish, and often too short, or something like that. Briefly, it asserts that we find humour in the misfortune of others. And this has been criticised because while it is undoubtedly the case that we do sometimes laugh at others, this is not always true. Take wordplay. For example, what's the difference between Noah's Ark and Joan of Arc? One's made of wood, the other's made of Orleans. Or the man who fell into the upholstery machine is now completely recovered. It's difficult to see where superiority can be found in that. Well, the relief theory says that we laugh to release emotional or psychic tension and that this produces feelings of pleasure. And it was set out in the 18th century but elaborated by Sigmund Freud, who wrote at length about the different conditions or situations in which this release occurs. And the three laughter situations he gives as jokes, that which is comic, and humour. And these different laughter situations result in different types of psychical energy savings. Well, the relief theory has been criticised on the grounds that it is frankly a bit bonkers. Freud says, for example, that we laugh at the exaggerated movements of the clown because imagining something large requires a greater effort than imagining something small, and so this gives rise to a greater release of energy and hence pleasure. It's also been criticised on the grounds that it is untestable, though personally I think that gives it an edge. The incongruity theory is most often traced to Kant and Schopenhauer. And Schopenhauer says, the phenomenon of laughter always signifies the sudden apprehension of an incongruity between such a conception and the real object thought under it. The greater and more unexpected in the apprehension of the laughter this incongruity is, the more violent will be his laughter. I think it's the way he tells them. And it's this theory which tends to hold sway, though there are criticisms. Why aren't all incongruities funny, and the fact that incongruity can mean such a wide range of things. And there have been attempts at unifying these theories, but I suggest this is misguided. One example is provided by Veitch, who presents a theory for which he makes the bold claim that there appears to be no case of either perceived humour or lack of perceived humour which the theory does not explain. Veitch's theory states that there are three necessary and jointly sufficient conditions for the perception of humour. These are violation. The perceiver has in mind a view of the situation as constituting a violation of a subjective moral principle, that is, some affective commitment of the perceiver to the way something in the situation ought to be is violated. Normal, the perceiver has in mind a predominating view of the situation as being normal, and simultaneity. The normal and violation understandings are present in the mind of the perceiver at the same instant in time. Thus, incongruity alone is not held to be sufficient. Whether the receiver finds the incongruity amusing, Veitch argues, is linked to their moral perception. Veitch's is a curious paper. Is it a serious proposition or a savage satirical critique of empirical research in the social sciences? Either way, there aren't many laughs. Though he does have one good line, why don't adults like elephant jokes?